Okay, we are sitting on the ground at Booker Airfield in Buckinghamshire in a Cessna 152 in Flight Simulator 2020, and we're going to do a very quick example of doing a flying the pattern basically. So we're going to climb to 1500 feet altitude. We're going to turn through 180 degrees left back to 60 degrees. We're going to fly along the pattern and then turn again back round to 244 degrees or thereabouts and come in and land. It's going to be a very quick flight, but I'll explain what I'm doing, what I'm thinking about along the way. So first of all, we're going to look out and we're going to drop the flaps to flaps 1 to get off the runway. So I'm going to move the mouse slightly out of the way so it doesn't keep showing tooltips. So you'll notice that the instruments we're going to be using during the flight are the airspeed, indicated airspeed, the turn coordinator, the compass, and the vertical speed and the altitude. And that's really all we're going to need to look at. So full throttle, and we're off and running. And the mouse is hitting things over there. Okay, so I'm using right rudder to hold against the torque of the engine as we accelerate down the runway. Once the airflow increases, we don't have to do that anymore, and it actually goes the other way because there's a slight crosswind from the right which is pushing the tailplane left. So we pull up and rotate and we're in the air. Now we have to keep an eye on the compass now to make sure we don't deviate too far from 244 degrees. So we're about 245 at the moment. The plane is trying to roll gently left. So I could put some trim in to counteract that. I'm not going to. So I'm going to raise the flaps now. So airspeed is increasing even though we're climbing. We're coming up to 1,000 feet. So we'll keep climbing and try to temper the rate we're climbing. So we're about 700-800 feet a minute looking at the vertical speed. So if we drop that gently to 500 feet a minute, then the speed will obviously increase. And we're getting there. We're nearly up to 1500 feet. As soon as we're at 1500 feet, we will stop our climb. So nearly there. So let's start trimming. And the plane is accelerating very quickly now because we've obviously stopped climbing. So let's trim the elevators, pull the throttle back so we don't go too fast, and begin our left turn. So we're now looking at the turn coordinator. We're looking at vertical speed as well, because obviously once we tip the aeroplane over to turn, the nose will drop. Therefore we need to feed in a bit of elevator to hold it steady. And we're looking to turn 180 degrees to the left, so we'll end up at 60 degrees. And we want to keep the speed fairly consistent so the radius of the turn will remain the same at both ends of the circuit, if that makes any sense. So we're doing this coordinated turn. The turn coordination meter basically indicates there's a ball underneath the aircraft at the bottom left dial, you can see. If that's in the middle, it means the plane is not skidding sideways through the air. It means the tail is following the fuselage through the air in an efficient manner. So 60 degrees, we actually want about 65, don't we, for the true reciprocal of the runway. So we'll straighten that up. We're a little bit above 1500 feet, so we'll just drop gently. We're accelerating, so I'm going to cut the throttle back. Falling back towards 80 knots. We're falling back towards 1500 feet. We're now falling below 1500 feet, so I'll increase the throttle ever so slightly. And trim the ailerons, the elevator, sorry. Up, which is good. We're just holding this to course, and I'm It's steady enough now to let go of the controls, and if we look left, we already lost the airfield behind us. Oh no, there's the airfield there, because we had quite a long climb out, didn't we, to get to 1500 feet. So, are we still where we should be? We're a little bit low, and we've gone a little bit to the right, but that's fine. So let's pull the nose up a bit more, get back to 1500. So the game now is going to be to do a similar coordinated turn at this end of the circuit. Let's have a quick look to see where we are in relation to the airfield. There's the runway. We'll get a bit further away. Oops, I managed to turn the yoke off. So let's get this sorted out. So we're climbing back up to 1500 feet. And we will begin our turn very soon. So let's begin our turn. Let's set ourselves up in the cockpit slightly so we can see over the nose a little bit more. So again, we're just watching the turn coordinator, watching the altitude, vertical speed and the compass and the speed, and we're just scanning the instruments and making appropriate changes methodically, not panicking. So we're coming around towards 240 degrees. We can already see through the quarter window there that we've turned tighter than we did after the climb out, so we're going to straighten up our approach and we're going to cut the engine back. We're in the white area of the indicated airspeed, so we can drop the flaps, and we're going to begin our descent. So we'll just straighten the view up. I was messing around with the mouse, that distracted me enough to overshoot the centre line of the runway. Just shows distractions are not good. So again, we're just coming in gently. We're a little bit high probably. We don't want to get much below 60 knots. You can tell there's a side wind from the right, which we're crabbing slightly to counteract. And we're just gently coming in and begin flaring and let the airplane gently fall to the runway, and we're down. If you noticed, as soon as we touched the ground, the aircraft started going to the right quite hard. That's because the wind was hitting the tailplane. So if you imagine the wheels become a pivot point underneath the fuselage, and the wind hits the tail, pushes the tail left, so the nose goes right. So there we go. I'm not going to bother filming the taxi back to the airfield, but a pretty simple visual circuit. So hopefully that will help people who are trying to learn how to do things. If you're wondering about how you manage to land on the centerline all the time, it's just practice. Just practice, practice, practice. And you will get better at judging it as you practice more. Okay, that's the end for that one.